Welcome back to Kabiga's Movie Reviews, and today we're looking at Alita Battle Angel, the 2019 movie directed by Robert Rodriguez and produced by James Cameron, starring Rosa Salazar, Christoph Waltz, Jennifer Connelly, Mahershala Ali, and Edward Norton, among others. Dr. Dyson Edo finds part of a female cyborg at a scrapyard in Iron City with her brain intact, so he takes her home and gives her a new body and a name, that of his deceased daughter, Alita. While she suffers from amnesia, Alita determines to learn her place in this world, a place Dr. Edo has strong suspicions about, and as her journey progresses, Alita discovers there's much more to her than meets the eye. Discoveries that make her friends and enemies as she forges a path to her destiny as the Battle Angel.
Now, being post-Avatar definitely benefits this film, and the fact that it's produced by James Cameron really shows, because his films have a certain, shall we say, quality about them. He's got a reputation for being very difficult to work with, but his films and his success are undeniable. So I may not agree personally with his methods, I've got no experience personally of his methods, but the results speak for themselves. You've only to look at the Terminator series, Titanic, Avatar. He is responsible for some of the biggest movies in cinema history. In fact, I believe, as we speak, currently Avatar is the most successful movie of all time, having overtaken recently Avengers Endgame. So his work speaks for itself, and it's evident here as well. Though he doesn't direct this, he did just produce it, and he also had heavy influence on the story. Now, it is a very basic story, much like Avatar, where there's a society that lives over and above others, and the others, the lower society, shall we say, the oppressed, are in existence merely to serve the higher society. Now, in Avatar, it's the people on Earth who want this unobtainium, which, sorry guys, slight aside here, I think is the most absurd word ever invented, but whatever. Unobtainium, they want that because it's a precious metal and they'll do anything to get it, and they trample over the Na'vi in order to get it. In this film, it's very much similar to Elysium, where there's a higher society that live up in the sky even, which is very similar, and those on the ground basically work and toil to service the ones who live above them, literally the society above them. It couldn't be more explicit in high society and low society, and they have to find a hero or a savior that's going to hopefully change all that and save them all. So, I mean, this story's been done so many times. V for Vendetta, Total Recall, Elysium, and Avatar, as I've just mentioned, just to name but a few. But that doesn't mean that this film is anything less than its predecessors. And I don't mean that this is a sequel to other films. What I mean is that if you look at James Cameron in particular's filmography, there's, as I've already said, a certain style and a certain level of quality, and this doesn't let up. It is a really quality movie. It's quite an underrated classic, actually, I think, in my opinion, and I really enjoy watching it. The action set pieces are very reminiscent of, I don't know if you remember the old 80s movie Rollerball, mixed with Speed Racer. It's a real treat for the eyes. It's a treat for the ears. It's an adventure to go along. There's a love story subplot, which is somewhat intriguing and interesting, also somewhat weird in a certain way. When you watch the film, you'll see what I mean. But it's worth it, and it gives the protagonist, the hero, something to fight for. So, in that sense, it's all been done before, but it's really enjoyable. I mean, just because you've heard a song before doesn't mean you're not going to listen to it again, and it's the same principle here. You know, just because it's somewhat predictable doesn't mean it's any less enjoyable. The villains are quite good, and it's got some fantastic performances in. I've mentioned Christoph Waltz, and he is amazing in this. His range is brilliant. I always enjoy watching him. I liked him in that Brad Pitt Nazi movie, Inglorious. Well, I'm not going to say the full title, but you'll know the one where he plays an SS officer, and he's really intimidating in that, understatedly intimidating. Whenever he's on screen, he's captivating. And he's really endearing in this as a somewhat father figure. So he's enjoyable to watch, and Academy Award winner and future Marvel Blade actor Mahershala Ali is really good in this. And then a surprise at the end with Edward Norton in a non-speaking role, which is specifically designed to set up the sequels. This was meant to be the first of a trilogy, which brings me nicely to my next point, because this movie made just under $500 million at the global box office. Now that's pretty successful. However, with its reported budget being between $300 million and $500 million, it's debatable as to whether it was actually financially successful, which is a real shame, because that does put a question mark over future sequels. Now, if you've seen the film, I think a sequel would be really good, and I particularly as a fan want to see one. I would happily go see a sequel, and I'm looking forward and still hopeful that they make one. But nothing's been officially announced, and James Cameron's currently working on his Avatar sequel, so that's a delay. So goodness knows whether we'll actually get a sequel to this movie or not. We'll just have to see. Time will tell, I guess. It's got some great music in it, and there was even a single released by Dua Lipa, which is quite enjoyable as a song, and the video's quite cool for it as well. So this is pretty much a well-rounded package. It's an entertaining thrill ride with highs and lows, as you'd expect, and it's a treat for the eyes and the ears. And for that, I think it's a very underrated sci-fi classic. I'm going to score this as 8 out of 10, or, as I've had suggested to me, to buy, watch, or avoid. Well, this movie, I recommend you watch it. Maybe buy it if that's your thing, because not everybody likes manga or anime or anything like that this is based on. But for me, I bought it because I really enjoyed it. So whether you buy it or not is up to you. This one, 8 out of 10, and watch it.
Thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, please like and subscribe to see all future content.